By May of 2010, I was experiencing fatherhood for the first time. My daughter was newly found motivation. I now had someone other than self to provide for. By January of 2010, I earned my television production certifications, completed my photography business plan, and I had focus and was plowing towards success. I was up for promotion as a wagon driver, scored average on the sergeant exam, and was on the road to completing all of my set goals. But you know that old saying, there's always a calm before the storm. I knew that when I passed the tech exam, I would have to take a urine test. The same stood with passing the sergeant exam. The department was also conducting random urine tests. I was playing with fire and was starting to feel the heat. I had to make a decision and make one fast. I had one opportunity to let the department know that I was having issues, so I decided to go for it. On May 28, 2010, I tested positive for use of marijuana. I was placed on administrative leave on June 3rd. Instead of honoring the contract I signed, I was denied the option to enroll into a drug program. My one opportunity was never granted. I sought advice from many members of the fire department and they all told me the same thing. I can't beat the charge. I should resign. Things seemed dim when a lieutenant I had previously worked with reached out to me. He explained that if I followed his instructions, I wouldn't lose and I would keep my job. I was instructed to treat my case like a job and work on it 8 to 10 hours a day. With his instructions and a determined attitude, reading, writing, and research would become my life in the coming months leading to my trial board. The evening before my trial board, I was talking with my lawyer on strategy. We spoke about possible outcomes of the trial board. He asked me did I want to resign and I said no. He went on to say if I were terminated, I would have a black mark on my name. I expressed to him, I'm a black man in America. I was born with a black mark on my name. I told him I'm not scared to fight a fire. Why would I be scared to fight a case? We ended the conversation and met up the following morning. We fought the case and by God's grace I wasn't terminated. Instead, the zero tolerance policy that had been put in place had been reversed. Now instead of getting terminated, you were granted the opportunity to go into a rehab program. Everyone before me resigned and everyone after me were allowed to go into a program. I was given an 1,176 hour suspension. I served the suspension from July 2011 until December 2011. For the first time in 9 years, I was without an income. What made matters worse, I seemed to find this trouble after having a child. I applied for many jobs during the process but couldn't find any work. When my 6 months of saving went dry, I was forced into homelessness. I was speaking with a friend about my situation and she heard my cries. She then made arrangements for me to stay at her mother's house. With this blessing, I had less to stress about. My plan was to complete my suspension and get back in good grace with the fire department. My main priority was securing housing and making sure my daughter's essential needs were taken care of. In July 2011, I was blessed with a lead photographer position at a studio in Washington, D.C. I was able to earn income and build my portfolio. I worked at the studio until my suspension was complete. I wanted to maintain employment at the photo studio, but when the fire department found that I was working, they made it harder for me to maintain both. After completing my suspension, I had to undergo a drug program and drug screen once a week. I completed the drug rehab program and was labeled a casual smoker. I would learn a plethora of lessons in substance abuse. I listened to stories from other participants and took a deeper understanding of addiction. I was able to leave the program with a better understanding of how traumatic life events could trigger substance abuse. In addition, I had to see a psychiatrist once a month outside of the fire department. Once I completed that process, I was scheduled to take a urine test and meet with another psychiatrist at the police and fire clinic. During my meetings with the police and fire clinic psychiatrist, I was diagnosed with adjustment disorder. These meetings will last a little over a year. After completing all re-entry requirements, I was detailed to the training academy for a refresher courses. I learned a lot about myself during this period and was able to use the knowledge when I returned to duty. On the ambulance, I was able to relate to patients and give my personal experiences as examples. Those who dealt with substance abuse were not alone. I looked for the good in bad situations and made the best of what was given. Little did I know I had opened a can of worms and lost the lid.